I'm Tyler Suiters, and you're watching Clean Skies News. Less than 12 hours after President Obama delivered his State of the Union address earlier this week, a member of his Green team was back on Capitol Hill talking about one of the administration's priorities for energy, that is further development of renewable resources. Interior Secretary Ken Salazar testified before his former co-workers in the Senate, appearing before an environment subcommittee discussing specifically the U.S. solar industry and the Interior and the BLM's plans for new development. After that testimony, he met with members of the media, and among the questions he answered, one from me about the administration's take about the current press for Senate climate legislation.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, do you care to comment on news reports that say that Interior has in fact determined that the Virginia OCS lease sale will not take place in 2011 as planned and may be deferred till 2012?
Yeah, we will have a lot more to say with respect to the outer Continental Shelf and what our plans are with respect to oil and gas development, and that'll be forthcoming in the very near future.
As part of the budget next week, or as after?
No.
After?
It will. We haven't determined the exact time, but it's not far off.
All right, he's got to go back to the hill, guys.
What's the state of play now in the eastern Gulf of Mexico?
In the eastern Gulf of Mexico,
With natural gas especially.
I mean, what we have is we have a congressional moratorium in place, and there is work that has gone on by the Department of Defense and our department to look at whether or not the lines where they were drawn are in the right places. It's part of the consideration that we have underway as we look forward to the future of the OCS, but at this point no decisions have yet been made.
Mr. Secretary, have you and the President and the Vice President talked at all about Senate climate legislation, given your mutual background and understanding of the way things work on this side?
You know, we have, and the commitment is, as the President said last night, you know, we want to have energy and climate change legislation adopted by the Congress because we think that that's the best way to go. Now, the specifics of what goes into the legislation is obviously a legislative process that you know, will take place over a long period of time.
It sounded like the President was endorsing the outline of Senators Kerry, Graham, and Lieberman last night, nuclear and offshore, other things in order to get a deal. Is that fair?
I think the President and his team, of which I am a member, have been encouraged by the fact that you have a tripartisan group of people who recognize that this is an issue that needs to have a legislative solution. You have a Republican, an Independent, and a Democrat coming together, and I think that's encouraging. And I think it's ultimately what the President would like to see more of here in the Congress, where you would have bipartisan efforts to address the big issues facing our country.
They're on the right track, those three senators, you'd say?
They are on the right track in spirit. You know, the devil always is in the details in terms of ultimately how you craft legislation that ultimately can get to the 60 votes that you need.
Is the administration going to demand that a cap on carbon emissions be part of whatever that legislation is, whether cap and trade, cap and dividend, some mechanism?
Yeah, we are having conversations, including with Senator Kerry and Senator Lieberman and Senator Graham. We have over the last several months, and we'll continue to have those conversations. You know, the President's commitment is to move forward with comprehensive energy and climate change legislation, and how it ultimately gets put together in the weeks and months ahead is something which is still an open question.
Okay,
You can also see my report about Salazar's specific testimony before the Environment Subcommittee and his projections for the U.S. solar industry's growth before the end of 2010. That's all here on our website. Just search under the keywords Salazar and solar. I'm Tyler Suiters. You're watching Clean Skies News.